Good day all. Today I would like to explain about complete Android application flow, how it is going to be start and where it is going to be end. In my previous tutorial I explained about the directory structure of Android application. Now I would like to explain you about where the flow is going to be start and how it is going to be display user interface. So as soon as the application is launched, the first file which is read by Android SDK is Android manifest.xml file. Let's talk about different areas and parts of Android manifest.xml file. And I can say Android manifest.xml file is the most important file in Android applications because it consisting of all kinds of configurations which are required for Android application. For example, first it gives the basic package and version code and use SDKs. It indicates what kind of SDK, like 2.2 or 2.3, 2.0 or Ascom Sandwich, Jelly Bean, whatever. So it gives information about what the minimum SDK version as well as what is the targeted version, and all kinds of activities we can configure inside this application tag, and even we can configure service. You can write a service and you can configure even services whatever is required. So if you want to use any third party libraries like Google Maps, if you want to use, actually you can able to configure Google Maps also into Android manifest.xml file. So first step, when we launch Android application, it go into Android manifest.xml file and search for a main and launcher activity. So that's nothing but com.example.welcome.main activity. So any activity which is configured with this intent filter with main and launcher will be the first activity which is going to be launched and it will display to the user. Second step is it will go and try to display the information which is available in main.activity file. Activity is nothing but it's a kind of action will be performed all of an UI in Android applications, and each and every activity has to be extends activity that is a predefined activity, and the package of this activity class is Android.app.activity is a package, and we have to override a method called onCreate method is mandatory, which we need to override, and override is an annotation over here, and onCreate method by default it takes a bundle instance, and now super.onCreate indicates we are just calling a superclass activity onCreate method and passing this instance to it's a superclass, and each and every activity can be configured to your one XML file that is nothing but a user interface. To configure any UI, we need to use a method called setContentView. Now setContentView is a method which is used to represent XML file from an activity. So setContentView is a method which I am using over here, and or.layout.activity underscore main. Now we should understand what is this or.layout and all. Capital O is nothing but a or.java class which is auto generated class by Android SDK. And second one is a layout. Layout is nothing but the folder which is available under RES folder. If you observe under RES there is a folder called layout. Under layout folder we are creating activity underscore main. So that's what layout is, nothing but it's a folder name. At the same time it is a class in or.java. And activity underscore main is nothing but it's nothing but a XML file name. So if you want to access any XML file which is defined under layout, then we need to use Master Studio. You have to use our dot layout dot then activity name. Sorry, XML name. For example, let me create one more XML now here, Android XML file. I'm creating just login.xml file which I'm creating now. That's a login.xml file is created now. So come back here. If you want to change this, see, this is just login is created, and what I will do, just go to text view, just double click and come back here. Text will just give welcome message and come back to main activity now. Now I don't want to use activity main, then you can just remove order layout dot. Now I would like to use login. That's it. Now it is pointing to login page. And at the same time, if you want to go ahead with the menu options, then you need to override this method and you can create a menus. Anyway, we'll talk about later in our sessions because this is a very basic fundamental class, so I don't want to get into menus now. So now this setup is done. Now it will go to this login and login.xml. So whatever the UI which we created, then it is going to be displayed to the user. Let me run. Before run our Android application, let me explain about two things. One is SDK Manager, another one is Android Virtual Device Manager. Let's talk about Android SDK Manager. Now Android SDK, that is Software Development Kit, is used to represent what are the versions are available in my current system. And if you observe, these all are the different versions which are available, and it will show you the status whether it is installed or not installed. And almost all I installed all 4.x versions, and I installed latest version, that is 3.2. And if you come to 3.1, not installed. So Android SDK shows what are the different kinds of versions which are installed in this current SDK. And come back to Android Virtual Device Manager. It shows what are the different kinds of virtual machines are available. Now, before going to start talking about Android Virtual Device, now once application is created in Eclipse, if I want to execute and I want to see output of this application, then we need to have some kind of a virtual device that is nothing but a AVD. AVD stands for Android Virtual Device. So which will be used to display output of Android applications. And by default, by default after configuration, you cannot see any AVD device which is available. So you can create a new instance of AVD. Just click on new and give a AVD name. Say for example, I targeted 4.0 and I will create AVD 4.2 or something. And just select a device. Device is nothing but you can select what inches, like how many inches which you are targeting. You can just select any one of that, and then you can select a target that, let's say 4.2, which I will create, and just click on OK. Then my AVD is ready. So just once AVD is created, I just close it. And to run this application now, just right click, go to run as Android application. And remember, before we run application, we should have an appropriate targeted AVD which is created already. Now let's wait for AVD to be launched. Anyway, it takes some time. Meanwhile, let's talk about few things about generated file. Little bit. Okay, little bit. And let me talk about generated files. That is, or.java file. Now, as discussed, or.java file is the most important file, which is important. Or.java file is the most important file in our Android applications. So let's talk about more on or.java file. Now or is a final class which is defined here, and inside that there is a one more class which is created automatically, that is layout. layout. Under that, I created two XML files and two files are created over here. So remember, whenever we create any new file in under layout, which will automatically make an entry under this particular class. So with respect to a class name, it creates a respect to some decimal values. So because of this, we are able to accessing that particular XML file in activity with respect to layout.login. And at the same time, if you want to access some, for example, if you want to access any image that is drawable, then you can use r dot drawable dot then image name like IC underscore launcher. This is the image which is already available in my project IC underscore launcher. Now if I want to access any file, image file, then we need to use a drawable. If you want to use an XML file, then we need to use a layout. So like this, there are different kinds of classes which are available in order Java to access the different components of Android application. So for example, if you want to access an ID, then you have to use r.id dot or dot menu dot or dot string or dot drawable and blah blah blah. So this is how we need to access from XML into activity using r.java file. Let's look into it. Oh, still it is launching, so I think it takes some time. Let me close, and that's better. Let me launch from here. Just start, just launch. But generally, Android every before we start working on it, it's better to start emulator first and then parallelly work on the application. And whenever you want to see the output of this application, straight away you can just run and you can see application will be running on emulator. Let me close this. Just to show you that the emulator is cancelled. Let's wait for some time. Yeah. Sorry? Yeah. Yes, please. Friday at what time? Is it possible tomorrow? Then it's better. Friday. Okay, we'll make it on Friday then. Yeah. Okay, sure. Okay. To run application, finally just right click on application run as Android application. Please select, and it is searching for a compatible device. So the AVD which is created is not a compatible one. So you can just change it to 4.1. Here version 4.3 change, and then close. Again right click, run as Android application.